Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the GRCV Hoops podcast. My name is Gavin Campbell, and back joining me today is my good friend.
And I'm really happy to be back, Ricardo Vargas.
He was away for a couple weeks on a trip, but it's great to have him back in the studio. I was getting lonely, Rick.
Man, I missed it a lot. Honestly.
All right, well, we're excited to jump back into it, especially after there not being a show last week. But we are back on top of things now. And getting into it, the first question of today, Rick, I need to ask you, who is going to be the best player and most likely win the Most Valuable Player award in 5 years?
Oh, man, this is a tough one because there's so many great players in the league right now. Like, it is incredible the amount of talent that's in the league. But in 5 years, to be honest with you, I think it's going to be the Greek Freak winning the MVP.
Giannis.
Because he's so young, already so good. I think it would be a crime if he doesn't win it in at least 5 years. Like he's gonna win one, and it has to be soon.
One, you would expect.
At least, like that man is just incredible. And if not him, my second pick would have to be Devin Booker. I really like his game. It reminds me a lot like a Kobe. Just a great player. I just wish he were on a better team in a different situation. But I think he deserves one in the future.
Kobe type player. I don't know if I see him having a Mamba mentality though. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's one of the better sharpshooters in the league right now, especially when it comes to all the young guys that are in the league.
And so young too.
That's crazy. But I don't know about the Mamba mentality. I really don't. I mean, I see him, and I know that him and Kobe have had talks in the past, and obviously had that ridiculous 70-point game. What was that against the Celtics that they lost? They ended up losing that game.
That is crazy. Insane, 70 points.
Yeah, if I had to pick, I like Giannis. Giannis as a good 5-year MVP choice. If it's up to me, I've been saying it for the past couple of years though. It's Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis, yes.
I know that he's still playing in New Orleans, and it's not a good situation. But I'm telling you, if they can somehow figure it out in the next 3 to 4 years, or he can, be set free from that mess that's going on in Louisiana. I definitely think that he's capable of it. Especially if he can get out of the West with LeBron James, getting older.
Oh yeah,
going to turn 34 late this year. But I mean, AD is, and I know a lot of people said it when he came into the league. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. 5 years ago now. Wow.
Something like that. Yeah, it's insane.
It's been a while.
And he's so underrated. To be honest.
I mean, really, and it has to do with him being, on the Pelicans. If he honestly, if he was in any other situation, I mean, even put him on the Orlando Magic. I mean, being in the Eastern Conference, he would be able to make more noise than what he's doing right now. And yes, they do have the 8th seed currently, but with the absence of DeMarcus Cousins, you expect them to fall out pretty quickly with the Clippers and the Jazz. The Utah Jazz are hot right now. And they're nipping at their heels. But I would say Anthony Davis, and if I had another choice, I would have to say Karl Anthony Towns.
Karl Anthony Towns. I like those picks. Yeah, Anthony Davis, there's no other big man putting up those numbers like he is, 40-plus, every other night. It's crazy.
Oh, man, yeah. And when he had those back-to-back 45-plus point performances this year.
It's insane.
That was 90, pretty much 90 points in 2 days. That's something. And it was on the night of a back-to-back. When was the last time someone scored 40 points back-to-back? I think Kobe might have done it.
And his defense, his blocking, rebounding, everything.
He really does it all.
Yes.
And we know that he was able to do that and develop those skills in high school because he had a 8-inch growth spurt his sophomore year. I mean, that's
wild.
That's nuts. I mean, this is pretty much, it's a point guard in a power forward body. That's what Anthony Davis is. But I want to touch on Karl Anthony Towns real quick. And why I think 5 years from now he could be the MVP of the league. I think this all has to do with how Jimmy Butler's situation pans out in Minnesota and how Andrew Wiggins fills into being the third option if Jimmy's going to stick around after next season. I think his fit there is, especially Towns being either the first or second option on any given night, and just, I mean, especially watching him in the All-Star game on Sunday. We saw him, shoot 3-pointers, and I think he made 3 or 4 of them, just like it was nothing. I mean, yeah, he's wide open, but this guy's 7 feet tall, and he's shooting in the high 30 percentages as a 7-footer on 3-pointers.
Oh no, he's one of my favorite big men in the league and one of my favorite players. He's so talented, and what I love about his game, he's so consistent.
Absolutely.
Every night he will put up stats. So he doesn't have a bad night almost. No time.
Every Timberwolves game that I've seen, and I've seen a few, I never watch and be like, wow, Karl Anthony Towns is having a bad game.
Yeah.
Like you just don't see that. I mean, Jimmy has an off night. Obviously, Andrew Wiggins has had his fair share of disappointing performances, but when it comes to Towns, I've never, at the end of the day, said, you know what, it's probably his fault they lost this game.
Yeah.
I just, and he's been on the team for 3 years, and I've never said that. And especially with him being as young as he is, I mean, he's got another 10 to 13 years in this league being a dominant big man. And shout out to him for making his first All-Star appearance over the weekend.
It's really impressive. And let me ask you this: who do you think is going to be the better big man in the long run, DeMarcus Cousins or Karl Towns? Crazy that both of them are Kentucky. Former Kentucky players,
Kentucky
and Anthony Davis.
Right, the three Kentucky guys right there, and I'm pretty sure. Now, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that a Kentucky big man has been taken in the lottery for the past, I think, 6 or 7 seasons. I'm almost positive on that because I think Bam Adebayo was taken this year. I don't know if he was top 14. I believe he was.
I'm not sure. I think he was 11th or 10th. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he was a lottery pick, and that kept the streak going. But these guys. To answer your question, I think the ceiling for Karl Anthony Towns is the highest, but right now, if I had to pick one out of the 3, I think before DeMarcus Cousins went down with his Achilles injury, he was the best big man in basketball. And I think between him and Anthony Davis, it was like splitting hairs. Especially them being on the same team. That's crazy to think about.
It's insane.
But I think with them, Anthony Davis on the defensive end, I think it's a little bit better. But when it comes to DeMarcus Cousins' playmaking ability, I think that overshadows the Browns' defensive paralysis and just what he's able to do. I mean, he was averaging over 5 assists a game from the center position this season. I think we have to look at that and say, sort of similar to Nikola Jokic in Denver and what he's able to do. Playing Anthony Davis as kind of a stretch big, and then having DeMarcus Cousins obviously being able to shoot 3-pointers, shooting in the mid 30 percentile range this season. Just the way that they're able to run that offense, I think if they had a solid small forward, their bench has definitely gotten better. But if he would have not gone down with that injury, like we said, MVP conversation for Boogie. So if I had to pick one of the 3, I'm going to take DeMarcus Cousins right now, depending how he comes back from injury. If this doesn't hinder him, we saw it happen to Kobe Bryant, but Kobe was 34 when it happened to him. So it's kind of a toss-up, but if I had to take one based on what I've seen so far, I would have to take DeMarcus Cousins.
Oh, no. See, I completely understand. And, for part of this season, he was leading the MVP race, at least in my eyes. He
Absolutely.
Was incredible, putting incredible numbers up every single night. And it's crazy that both of them are the same team. I personally think Karl Towns will be the best big man when it's all said and done between those 3 because he's consistent, efficient, and I can see him winning some games. And he's in a better position than Davis and Cousins. Like, Davis and Cousins have had bad luck in their first years in the league.
And touching on that, Karl Towns is in obviously the best situation of the 3 because they're both on the same team, Davis and Cousins respectively. But if Cousins does not re-sign with New Orleans, which I do still think that there's a good chance. There's a lot of people on sports networks saying that DeMarcus is not going to re-sign with the Pelicans. It's not in his best interest. But we have to remember that they were 6 or 7 games over 500 before DeMarcus Cousins went down with injury. They were as high up as the 5 seed in the Western Conference. So we know that whatever they figured out for those couple weeks when they were winning games, going on that 5-6 game winning streak, they had something figured out to where they could keep both of them and their current roster together and being able to not only be productive but win. And that's something that the Pelicans have struggled with for the past 3 years since they played the Warriors in the first round back in I think 2014 or 2015. I do think you're right. Karl Towns is probably in the better situation to become the best big man. But if I was going to base it off pure talent and what I've seen over the longevity of one's career, because Boogie, we know, is 28 years old right now, going to enter his prime.
Yeah.
And that's really terrible that he's tearing his Achilles or rupturing his Achilles and
At this
just,
point in his career.
just entering the prime of his career. That's terrible.
It's terrible. I really hope he can come back the same player or even better. And I just wish the best for all of them. They're great players. And one last thought, Nikola Jokic, he is very underrated. I forget all about him. Like, you got to put him in this conversation.
Right.
Hey,
the Nuggets are sleeping in the Western Conference, or a lot of people are sleeping on them because I think they do have this 6 or 7 seed right now, and they're looking up. I mean, they're only, I think, either a half game or a game and a half behind OKC for the 5 seed.
And Jokic is playing out of his mind. Fastest triple-double in NBA history.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, he did what, in 2.5 quarters? 2.5 quarters, the man had a triple-double. That's unreal. He didn't have to play the fourth quarter. And he already had almost 20 points, 10 and 10.
Yeah.
And that's...
I have to throw him in for that MVP conversation in the next 5 years.
We might have to, because I mentioned DeMarcus Cousins' playmaking ability.
But this guy...
Jokic is the best passing big man in the entire league. Maybe the best one we've ever seen.
Easily in the league right now.
I've never seen a 7-footer with eyes in the back of his head. I mean, some of the crazy passes that he's able to pull off. I mean, not no disrespect to these guys, but I mean he's doing this with players like Will Barton. You know, he's a solidified role player, and he's making him look like a borderline all-star. I mean, it's really crazy. And when Moutier was there, obviously he was their starting point guard for a handful of games, and now with the New York Knicks.
Yeah, that's something.
Going to be interesting to see how the Knicks incorporate him into the offense when they already have Frank. I cannot say his last name.
Neither can I. Hopefully, I could see him in as a good backup, a 6-man type of guy. Because I don't see him as a starter, to be honest.
No, I think though they might start him for the rest of the season just to get him, acclimated with the offense and how the Knicks want to run, through him. If he does come into the backup role, because I think that they're going to groom Frank into being their starting point guard probably for next year, especially if and when Porzingis comes back. Probably not going to be back in October to start the season, but maybe December.
Dang.
When he comes back, Frank will be able to, work on the chemistry between him and Porzingis. Porzingis is going to be, if he's not already, a top 20, top 15 player here in the next couple of years for sure.
No, for sure.
I mean, he's an animal, especially what he was doing this year.
He is. I really like his game. He's fun to watch.
I think, really, I mean, now that we're touching on the Knicks, I think that's a really intriguing team just for next year. Everything that they have right now, Cantor has really stepped up his game since coming there.
I didn't expect that from him.
Right. And also Hardaway Jr. coming back. He struggled when he first came back for those couple weeks, but then right before the All-Star break, I mean, he put up a game where he was, almost a double-double, had 25 points.
Oh,
I mean, it's if he can do that on a consistent basis, I mean, not that I'm comparing Tim Hardaway Jr. to Carmelo Anthony, but what Anthony was able to do with his time in New York past 2013. I think if Hardaway Jr. is able to do that, and then they have Porzingis and Cantor, along with Frank, if they can groom him to be just a solid starting point guard, like a top 16.
Yeah, a solid player.
Just somewhere floating in there between like 18 and 14. If he can be in that range of point guard, I think the Knicks are in good shape to make the playoffs.
No, I completely agree. Like that's a team that has a lot of potential, and just like you said, if Tim Hardaway can put up some decent numbers and then have Porzingis leading the way, I see them in the playoffs. And that'd be really nice to see.
Hardaway has to prove that he's worth the money the Knicks are paying him.
And I think he is.
Yeah, I think he could come into what he's worth, yes.
Because he showed a lot of, great potential before he went down.
In Atlanta, too.
Yeah, in Atlanta, too,
He had some great games in Atlanta. He had a couple game winners for the Hawks last year.
Yeah, no, I do like his game. It's smooth.
Yeah, and he's not afraid of the big moment either, and it doesn't get bigger than New York City. I mean, playing in the Garden, that's you live for that kind of moment, and when you play there 41 times out of the year, I mean, what more could you ask for, right?
Exactly.
Probably spent too much time on that question, but
it was fun.
That was fun. Let's see. The next question on the list is, now this is actually one of my favorites, Rick, but I want to get your opinion on this first. Where will the King play next season?
Oh, man, another tough question. But it really all depends on how they play the rest of the season. And I think they're gonna play really good the rest of the way. And honestly, I could see them going to the finals, as much as I hate to say it. And if that happens, I see LeBron staying, to be honest.
For those of you that were either sleeping under a rock or just didn't catch the trades that happened on the trade deadline before the All-Star break last week, The Cavaliers were very busy. That front office was hopping. Let's say that. The first of many transactions on the list here was the Cavaliers traded Isaiah Thomas, Channing Frye, and the Cleveland 2018 first-round pick to the Los Angeles Lakers for Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. It didn't stop there. They also traded Derrick Rose and Jay Crowder to the Utah Jazz for Rodney Hood in a 3-team deal with the Sacramento Kings, also trading Iman Shumpert to Sacramento in exchange for George Hill. And I also believe a Kings first-round pick went to Utah, and the Utah first-round pick went to Sacramento. I think they swapped. And to cap it all off, they traded Dwayne Wade back to the Miami Heat, his home, for a 2022 second-round pick. So obviously they weren't trying to get anything out of it. They were just trying to send him off on good terms there, in Dwayne Wade speaking. But with all of those transactions, if you can keep up with me, like you said, Rick, I think this team is retooled and revamped to make a finals run. I think that especially in the East, really their only competition is Boston and Toronto at this point.
Yeah.
So especially when you have youth and athleticism like this, and you have a LeBron James that is excited, that is a scary thing to go up against.
Oh, extremely scary. And I really like Jordan Clarkson. He had a few big games for the Lakers this season. It was pretty impressive, and I know he wanted to get traded. So I see the Cavs making some major noise the rest of the way. Rodney Hood, solid player, and I think they have good chemistry already, and they're gonna keep on building it. And it's just scary to see. And when you got LeBron leading the way, oh my gosh!
I think people forget. I don't think they forget. Well, maybe some people do, but they sleep on Rodney Hood. He's 6'8" at shooting guard.
They sleep on him.
I mean, he is the tallest two guard, I believe, in the league right now. Like pure two guard. Also spends time at small forward, or at least he did for Utah, especially in Hayward's absence this season. We expected him to really up his game with Gordon Hayward going to the Celtics this year, but I mean, he really wasn't taking that next step. It was more of either he stayed the same or might have even taken a half step back from last season. And
it hurts.
It does. But what we've seen in these 3 games, a very, very small sample size, since him being with the Cavs, especially Jordan Clarkson in his debut, didn't take time at all to fit in with that offense. I think he almost got 20 off the bench against the Celtics in his first game.
17 points.
So, yeah, 17 off the bench there, and I think he hit 4 3-pointers.
It was wild.
That's incredible.
They were having fun out there.
And Rodney Hood also came in. I think he scored 12. George Hill came in. He played a hell of a lot better in Cleveland than he has all year in Sacramento. I can say that much. Yeah. And then Larry Nance, just being as athletic as he is, we saw him in the dunk contest and what he's able to do.
Yeah.
I really just think this team, especially after getting rid of Isaiah Thomas, getting rid of Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade. I mean, I don't want to say that they had the retirement home on their bench, but let's be honest, that's pretty much what it was. They needed to clean that out, bring in some youth, some athleticism, some guys that are hungry. These are guys that haven't been to the playoffs before. Rodney Hood played in 2 playoff series last year for the first time in his career. George Hill, they needed to bring in another veteran at point guard.
Solid player.
And we know that he's had battles with LeBron James and the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals when the Pacers had that great team in what was it, 2013, 2014. Who was it? 2012, 2013 with George Hill, Paul George,
Hibbert.
I hate to say it, Roy Hibbert when he was a good player. I mean, and this is a Roy Hibbert that was, let's not forget, was in conversation for Defensive Player of the Year.
That's crazy.
At one point.
That was such a good team. A good team. I thought they were going to do some more, but.
And let's not forget Danny Granger before
he just disappeared off the map.
For real, before he was an up and coming scorer. I mean, at one point he was scoring 25 a game for the Pacers before Paul George broke out.
That's crazy.
And David West. We can't forget about David West when he went
to
Indiana.
Stacked. They were honestly stacked.
Those were honestly 2 of my favorite series to watch. Was the Eastern Conference playoffs in 2012 and 2013.
They could have beat the Heat.
And one of them did go 7 games.
Yeah,
I forget. Either it was 12 or 13, but one of them did go 7 games. And I remember being in high school and watching those. And you'd come to school the next day and be like, man, who's going to win the next one? It's like, did you see that game last night?
That was a lot of fun.
They were always – every game was a nail-biter, up until, obviously, the Heat winning by, I think, almost 20 points in the closeout games. Man. But, I mean, they always made it fun. And especially when when Lance Stevenson came
my
onto the
goodness.
scene.
He made it an incredible series to watch with both teams just going at it.
Gosh, man, those were
the days.
Those were fun. Those were fun for sure. Honestly, forgot what I was talking about.
No, but like about this trade, I do like it for the Cavs, and I also like it for like the other teams, like George Hill, like De'Aaron Fox. He's gonna have the keys to that point guard.
Oh yeah,
position. That's good. You know, Rodney Hood, he's in a good position. Jay Crowder, I think he can like get better. He can be back to his old
and
self.
And he's been a part of the Jazz's last 3 games on this win streak they're going on.
Yeah,
he's
I like
been a part
that.
of it. Yeah,
I love Jay Crowder. I loved him in Boston. And then for the Lakers, you know, they give more room for Lonzo Ball, Ingram.
Absolutely. I think also
Randall.
Also they did it. I believe Isaiah's contract is up at the end of the year. He's only making $7 or $8 million, but that's just enough to where now they'll be able to sign 2 max free agents because they also have Jordan Clarkson's contract of like $16 million off their books.
That's good. Yeah, a lot of teams won in this transaction, and then
Right.
of course Wade going to the Heat
That
back
was
home.
That was great. You
I think that was the best.
You didn't want Wade to sit behind a bunch of guys in Cleveland that he was unhappy with. He wants let him go home to South Beach, let him play for the Heat, and really I don't think he should have left there in the first place. I mean,
oh no, I don't understand.
Seeing him in a Bulls uniform and
It
a
was
Cavs,
weird.
especially when he put on the Cavs uniform and he wasn't wearing number 3. That really threw me off. And
It didn't feel right. Like he should have been with the Heat for life.
And I think when it's all said and done, I think we'll look back at this as just a small stain on his resume, and he'll be loved there, and we'll look back as he is a Miami lifer.
Yeah, he is.
And right next to the likes of Udonis Haslem, he that guy. And let's not forget Haslem back in the day. He was probably one of the better rebounders in the league.
Oh, he was solid.
And he does hold the record for Heat all-time leader in rebounds.
No,
fun fact if you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure.
Good guy.
Is he still playing or did he retire?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think he's retired.
He's retired now. Okay.
I haven't heard his name.
I wasn't sure. Well, I wasn't sure if he was just part of the reserves, if he was just chilling on the bench. I think he's a good locker room guy. I think he's a good locker room guy for them. But
he was. He really was.
Speaking of Miami, I think that they'll be excited just to have Dwayne back, even if he's only playing 12, 18 minutes a game. We know that his athleticism is really taking a drop off. Not to mention that he's always been an okay shooter.
Yeah,
and
decent.
just with age, comes decline. And I think if anything, just having him out there, because he can still be a playmaker for them.
Oh no, easily. He's one of the best shooting guards of all time.
Right, and that is also something that bothers me is when people say that Dwayne Wade. When you think of the greatest shooting guards of all time, obviously you think of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, but then when you bring up Dwayne Wade, some people are like, no, not. It's like, how can you not? I mean, this guy put on one of the greatest finals performances in 2006 that we've ever seen, period. I mean, against the Dallas Mavericks in the MVP and Dirk Nowitzki. I mean, I don't know. Not to mention other playoff performances like he did. He almost single-handedly beat the Raptors 2 years ago in the playoffs in the second round.
No, it's impressive what he's done his entire career. Consistent, fun to watch. One of the best players of all time.
Really, honestly, when you're talking shooting guards, if Dwayne Wade is not in your top 5,
something's wrong.
I can't talk to you. I cannot argue that. I cannot.
He deserves to be in the conversation at least.
At least. I mean, if you have him at like 6 or 7 and like knocking on the door of your top 5, I mean, I guess that we can talk, but he needs to be there. I mean, he's too good. He's too good. Not to mention a 3-time champion.
At least top 10.
Oh, at least minimum. That's bare minimum.
But he's in my top 5.
Absolutely, he would have to be. If I'm going Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, I think Dwayne has to either be 3 or 4 for me.
What about Jerry West?
Jerry West, the logo, different time. But if we're going point guards, I definitely have Jerry West in my top 10 for sure. But it's hard to compare generations.
It is.
It's so hard.
You got to put James Harden in there.
Oh yeah. Oh for sure.
For sure.
Oh James Harden and Chris Paul, if they have to be in the top 10, and they play on the same team. And
insane.
That's crazy. Honestly, I do see James Harden more of a shooting guard. But I mean,
for me he is.
Do I see James Harden as being better than Dwayne Wade? Probably not. Not yet, at least.
Okay.
I have to go with the longevity of someone's career. Obviously, Harden I think he's only 27 right now, so he has time.
And I think he will. At the end of the day, he will. If he keeps putting up these numbers, he's going to be
right. But I mean, let's not forget Dwayne Wade has been to 5 finals, and he's won 3 of them.
That means a lot.
Unless James can either get to the finals a handful of times or either win a ring or 2, I cannot put him above Wade and what he's done.
Yeah, no, and I understand. Like, yeah, he does need to at least win 1, and then keep putting up these numbers, and then we could talk. But for me, he will be in there for sure, no matter what.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, James Harden is incredibly talented. Honestly,
so fun to watch.
Absolutely, of course, he's fun to watch. I mean, and he's unique because he's left-handed.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, he might be the best left-handed player. To correct me if I'm wrong, that I've ever seen, because we know that I'm pretty sure 90 to 95% of the entire NBA is right-handed, and I'm talking about throughout NBA history. I mean, yes. They're definitely a scarcity, because up until that point that I figured out that James was actually left-handed, because that's not something you pay attention to. I thought Chris Bosh was the best left-handed player I'd ever seen, just from being a Raptors fan. But when I figured it out a few years ago, I was like, oh well, I guess I have to put James Harden up there. Like it's just something you don't notice. When people are shooting, and then one day I was just like, did he just shoot that with his left hand? And it was like, oh well, I guess I learned something.
And it's crazy to think he was on the same team with Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant
and Serge Ibaka.
You can't forget about Serge.
Reggie Jackson was coming off the bench. Think about that team and what could have been.
Like, I just don't even understand. Like, I think about that and just
if I were to go back and tell you, or anyone for that matter, in 15 years, I'd be like, hey, back in the day, did you know that Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, and Reggie Jackson all used to be on the same team? And they only went to one finals and didn't win a championship.
That's insane to think about.
I mean, that's just when you try to put that in perspective, and how that didn't even like stay together. It really blows my mind. Like, why? And obviously injuries come into play, but like, why wouldn't you try to keep that core together? And it's like, well, they did try. It's like they didn't try because the difference between keeping an MVP candidate in James Harden and letting him go to Houston was $6 million. Rick, $6 million to keep James Harden.
They've missed out on millions of dollars.
That is just it. And obviously, I think
that could have been one of the best teams of all time.
Right, but you have to also think, it's like, how would James Harden have developed without being the guy? Because as soon as he went to Houston, he was the man. They embraced him like
from the first game. I think he had like 45 points his first game.
His very first game. And then you obviously had people coming on and being like, "See, OKC, look what you did. Look what you missed out on."
I think it would have worked out well. Of course, they weren't going to put up these crazy. But all 3 of them weren't going to put these crazy numbers. But I think that it would have worked out perfectly. Just look at the Warriors.
Absolutely, I think everyone would have found their role.
Yeah,
everyone. Yeah. Oh man, what could have been?
Reggie Jackson's a 6. Oh my god.
Yeah, Reggie Jackson, a starting point guard. I put quotes around starting point guard in the league. He starts for Detroit. I mean, if that's your 6th man, you're in good shape.
And then Serge Ibaka.
Oh yeah, Serge Ibaka in his prime. I mean, wow. Yeah, they called him Serge Ibaka for a reason, but I mean,
what a defensive juggernaut.
Yeah, coming into his own there, and just, I mean, even being the 4th option. If Serge Ibaka is your 4th option, wow, you have a really good team. You have a really good team.
And your first 3 options are all MVP type.
Absolutely. I think after this year, because I'm almost positive James Harden is going to win MVP. I'm 90% sure James Harden is going to get the MVP this year. Yeah. Russell Westbrook's going to have an MVP, Kevin Durant's going to have an MVP, and James Harden's going to have an MVP, and they all played on the same team, Rick.
And they lost to LeBron, Wade, and Bob.
Yes. God, that is crazy. That is crazy. Hey, don't forget, they lost to Mario Chalmers, too. Mario Chalmers, Chris Anderson, Shane Battier.
How do you lose?
Man, they had, of course, Ray Allen.
Yeah.
Man, they just had so many. Was Shabazz Napier on the 2nd championship team? I can't remember.
I don't think so, because I remember like LeBron saying he wanted Shabazz, and then he left, and then LeBron left. Right,
that's what it was. Okay, so they must have drafted him. When did they lose to the Spurs, or was that before 2014?
That was,
I can't remember.
Gosh, I'm trying.
It's either 2014 or 2015. Had to have been 2014 when they drafted him, because LeBron was in Cleveland in 2015.
Exactly.
So I think it was the year they drafted Shabazz, and then they lost to the Spurs.
That's funny.
And I love how LeBron wanted him on the team too.
Exactly.
That's crazy. So you want this guy, and you go and get blown off the floor by a record margin in finals history. That's just funny how that goes hand in hand. But anyway, we need to talk about the meat of today's podcast, and that is NBA All-Star Weekend. Just finished up 4 days ago.
What a fun weekend.
What did you think of it, Rick?
I loved it. I really enjoyed it. Like, I didn't watch all the events, but the All-Star game itself, I loved the format.
So you are a fan of how they did it and how the teams were. At least I thought they were more competitive.
Oh yeah, more competitive, and it was just fun to watch. Like seeing guys mixed up on both teams, just having fun. I really enjoyed it.
I think it's really interesting for the fans because we were so used to there being a set structure and how things worked. 60 plus years of doing the same thing every single year, and to have. Like you said, just different players from different conferences, the best of the best of the best on different teams. That was really cool. The one complaint I have is they did not televise this draft.
That would have been they should have done that for sure.
Especially if you want revenue. I mean, you could throw all sorts of advertisements in it, and
easily
people are going to watch it.
Exactly, I would have watched it.
Yeah, and not only that, the players wanted it to happen, and I think Adam Silver came out and said that they're going to look into televising next year.
They need to.
But if there was one thing that I would want to happen, they chose the teams like 2.5 weeks before the All-Star break was even going to happen. I think what they need to do is pick the teams the day of the game. How cool would that be? No practice time, just a backyard basketball game. Let me get you. Let's play a game.
That would be crazy.
That is what they need to do. Adam Silver, if you are listening, and I know you're not, but you need to do it the day of the game.
That is one of the best ideas I've heard. That is a really good idea.
I'm also not taking credit for that idea. I heard it on ESPN. But anyway, that is what they need to do.
That'd be fun.
That would be so. Not only that, just I think not having practice. Just having to figure out. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to pick you because I have an idea for how I want to incorporate this offense, and I think that you'll be a pretty good defender, so I'll go ahead and take you. And not only that, watching it live and seeing the players' reactions to like who picks them, when they're picked. In response to someone taking somebody else.
That'd be as good as the game almost.
Really, I think it would be better than the game, just for the reactions of the players. I think that would be great.
And that'd make a lot of money.
That's great TV. That's just great TV, if anything.
Just authentic, and it would be just fun.
But
to watch.
let's run through before we come back to the All-Star game. Let's run through the different contests that they had. Obviously they have the skills challenge, the 3-point shootout, and then the dunk contest. In the skills challenge, the Brooklyn Nets Spencer Dinwiddie came home with the trophy.
That man Spencer.
He was my dark horse to win it. I did want Lou Williams to take it, just because they were in LA. There was no Lakers, so the Clippers had the only contestant in the event, and I really wanted him to take it home. And when that didn't happen, between Lauri Markkanen and Spencer Dinwiddie in the finals, I was really pulling for Lauri to win it just because he's a rookie. I thought it would have been really cool, but I was happy with either way that it would have gone because Spencer Dinwiddie and the Brooklyn Nets don't have a lot to cheer about right now.
They don't. They deserve it. They
deserve exactly.
Spencer's having his best season
of his career.
Yeah. I mean, his short career, like that. It's fun for him. So let him enjoy.
This is a guy that was in the G League but a few years ago. The D League then, now the G League, and
it's crazy to think about. Like, and look at the season he's having.
The man's going to get paid. As long as I'm not sure if his contract is up or not, but if it is, he's going to get some money because he would be a solid starting point guard anywhere.
Solid.
It would be great, especially if he stayed in the East. But he went to, either, I don't know, just off the top of my head, if he wanted to go to, the Pacers. I mean, think about that. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie, Victor Oladipo, Miles Turner. I mean, and I know it sounds funny right now, but the way he's been playing, I mean, I think that'd be
amazing,
really great. And then bring Darren Collison off the bench.
That'd be amazing.
I don't know. I think that would be pretty cool because he's an unselfish guard when he plays.
He really is.
He can score, but he's a pass. He always looks to pass first.
Yeah, he's a pass first. But to be honest, I would like to see him just stay with the Nets. That would be nice. Him and D'Angelo Russell.
Oh, I think that would be
cool.
A great backcourt. Yeah, well, and I think the Nets, depending on how long he's been in the league, I don't know if Dinwiddie's been in the league for 5 years or not.
I don't think he's been.
If he has been, then the Nets can offer him the most amount of money. If he hasn't been, I think that he can re-up for another year, and then they can pay him not max money, but like $130 $50 million. You know,
Yeah.
I'm still not giving him that much money, but I mean, if the Nets wanted to bring him back on like a 1 year, you know, 8 to 12, $15 million contract,
That'd be
you know,
I could see that.
similar to KCP because he wanted to quote unquote prove himself, and the only thing he can prove is that he can't stay out of jail. But
It's crazy to think about Spencer Dinwiddie was on the Pistons, and now
Yeah.
he's better than Reggie Jackson.
yeah,
in my eyes.
and they
He
passed
is,
him
he
up.
is.
I don't know why I don't know how teams overlook these kinds of things, because you would think that they would give everyone an equal opportunity to try to figure out who gives us the best chance to win
You draft these guys, put in
based on your scouts' information of hours upon hours of watching them play.
invest so much money, and then just let them go for like
Let them walk.
a sack of
Essentially,
potatoes.
yeah. Essentially, that's what they did. I mean, now think about it. Now, if you put Spencer Dinwiddie back on the Detroit Pistons, they're a playoff team.
They're a playoff team. Yes.
They're only a game and a half out behind, I believe, not Philly, behind Miami.
Spencer,
for the
Blake,
East.
Drummond.
Yeah,
That's a big three
that's
there.
your big three in the East. I mean, that's a big three in the East. Let's be honest. I don't know. I think it's incredible what he's done this season. But moving on to the second winner of the events on Sunday, Devin Booker set a NBA All-Star Weekend record, 28 points in the new format of the three-point contest.
Man.
28 of 34 points. That's an A. That's an A performance.
I can't even understand that.
And then not only that, Klay Thompson got 27 and tied the record in the same contest. But
Yeah.
ultimately, Booker came away with the victory, and
fight for it.
I know that you're big on this guy.
Man, I love his game. I really do. I'm happy for him. He says, man, what a shooter. What a shooter.
Yeah. What a humble guy too, really, and not just the contest. He's been like that for the past couple of years.
He's a fan.
He's a family man.
He's a family man.
Hey, and we know that he has a few siblings that he's really close with. Not to mention obviously his other family, but
yeah.
Booker he's a good guy.
I just want him to win.
I really like the way he carries himself, and I just think it's disappointing that the Suns organization couldn't put him in a better situation than they are now. And I could be wrong, and maybe in 3 years from now, with Marquise Chris, Dragon Bender, Tyler Ulis, and obviously Josh Jackson. He has stepped it up. I was wrong about Josh Jackson. Let me apologize to him, because when the season first started and up until through December and even part of January, I mean I was so hard on him, because I honestly thought he was the best player in the draft. I did, watching him at Kansas. I mean, maybe not the best player, but at least the most NBA ready in my eyes, next to Jason Tatum. But the way that he's able to, or the way that he did play defense at Kansas, and just disrupting offenses and being able to alter so many shots, and just making the other opponents sweat every time you go up against him. It's like, oh man, I don't know what to do against this guy, because he's so lanky. He's like 6'8", and he's 6'9", and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I love his hair. It's crazy. That guy's he's got something going on. It's unique. I'll give him that.
It is.
Hey, I'm just happy the afro's back. I've been missing the afro since Dr. J, but I was really high on him, and I picked him to be the best player in the draft. I wanted the Sixers to take him number 1 overall.
Really?
I wanted him.
Oh, well, come on.
No, because then you could have Ben Simmons run the point guard and have Josh Jackson actually play a legitimate 3. I mean, even then you could put Robert Covington in. I know he's like 6'7", but you could have him run shooting guard. And then bring JJ Redick off the bench. I don't know. I really wanted him to take him just for the defense, because Joel Embiid is already a great defender, and then if you have another great wing player alongside Covington, you could lock up anybody.
And that's worth a lot. Like defense,
right? And it's not all about defense, because obviously the best defense is a good offense.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I mean, defense does play a part in winning, because I mean we've seen it with the Cavs. I mean, you're not going to win a championship when you have the 19th ranked defense in the league, even if you make it to the finals. If you have a top 3 offense and your defense isn't even in the top half of the league, you're not going to win. But getting back to Josh Jackson, what I wanted to say, I know I'm taking up a lot of time, but I just want to apologize for him, because I didn't give him a chance, and it's sort of similar to the Lonzo Ball situation. I was quick to criticize him for legitimate reasons.
Right.
And he's turned it around. But I was really hard on Jackson, because I picked him to be the number 1 pick, or the number 1 player, that is, and then just the disappointment in Phoenix, and me overlooking that Phoenix was already a dysfunctional organization, and the whole
core.
Right, and the whole Eric Bledsoe situation and how they handled that was really poor. The firing of Coach Watson, I didn't agree with that either. But Jackson's been able to come into his own in this past month. He's been honestly incredible. I'm not going to say rookie of the year, but I mean definitely a lot better than I thought, because I thought that he was not even a top 5 candidate for rookie of the year at that point.
Oh no!
And now I think he's probably either 3 or 4 the way he's playing right now.
And he could keep improving, because
absolutely
the second half is when you start seeing
right
improvement from everybody, and especially the rookies.
Right, and not only that, second half of the season for a team that's in the top half of the lottery, you can play you want to play your young guys as much as you can,
and that's good.
Yeah, that's great news for him.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely.
But I needed to say that about him, because I was very hard on Mr. Jackson. So keep up the good work.
And then the dunk contest. What do you think about that? How did you like it?
Compared to last year, it blew it out of the water. As a whole, I wouldn't say that it's one of the best that we've seen, but it's definitely, I would say probably at least a top 10 performance from what we've seen. And I say top 10, it being probably 9 or 10, if not 11. Just from the ones that I've seen, especially the ones from the past. I thought that it was definitely more creative. I expected more out of Victor Oladipo, though. I was a little disappointed. I thought,
athletic.
Right. I thought that after the first time he did it, was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago, when he was in the dunk contest for the first time, I thought that he would have, built off of that and doing the 360 and a half dunk behind the head. That was probably one of my more favorite ones, because, we've seen a 360, we've seen a 720 from the And One League. I forget that guy's name, but we've seen it. But a 360 and a half, that just seems like kind of out there that you wouldn't perform it. But he pulled it off, and it was really cool to see. He tried to pull the creativity out of his bag of tricks, but ultimately just I wasn't into it, and I don't think the crowd there was into it.
Yeah.
However, the other 3 contestants, I thought that they were all neck and neck. I thought Dennis Smith Jr. got, lowballed a little bit, but only 2 people can advance to the next round. Now, I wish that they would just cut one person and then let the other 3 go and then have to cut somebody else.
Yeah, that would be better.
I think that would be a lot more fair, because Dennis Smith Jr.'s 360 between the legs was that's hard to do. That is hard to do. It reminded me of and I know Zach LaVine is obviously more athletic, 2-time dunk champion, but that's what it reminded me of when he went up, because he's a lot smaller than Zach is.
He is.
He's like 6 foot, 6'1".
And you got to take that into account.
So, but ultimately it came down to Larry Nance Jr. And Donovan Mitchell, and I tell you what, probably my favorite dunk of the night is when he went into the whole changing booth thing, and he brought out his dad's Larry Nance Sr. Phoenix Suns jersey. He put that on and recreated the dunk that won the very first dunk contest.
That's special, and you gotta appreciate that creativity from him.
Absolutely. Well, we kind of figured his dad was in attendance. He was going to do something, but we didn't know what he was going to do. But my favorite thing of the entire night was when they got a snapshot of him and put it side by side with his dad.
Yeah,
and you couldn't tell the difference.
At
least through the motion. I mean, it was picture perfect.
No, it was. And then Donovan Mitchell, of course.
Oh wow! I tell you what, that guy, not only is he creative, he can fly.
He's a flyer.
He is nuts. When he brought out his sister and Kevin Hart, and he jumped over them, that was impressive. And I really appreciated the throwback Darryl Griffith jersey and the shorts. I want to know where he got the shorts. The throwback shorts. Where did he get those? I need to get me a pair. I really appreciated it, because we know that the throwback uniforms now, they're accustomed with the longer shorts that we're used to seeing. But he actually pulled out like the 70s shorts. That was incredible. But ultimately, I mean, what won it for him was that Vince Carter tribute, reverse 360. That again, going against the grind, that is hard. That is really hard. And I'm pretty sure it was behind the back, right?
Behind the back, yeah.
Reverse 360 behind the back. That's
tough.
That's what did it. And when he pulled out that jersey, I mean, Kenny Smith said it. He said it's got to be something special, and I was like, it's got to be something special. And that's how he won it. That's how he won it. I mean, this kid is 20 years old.
That's insane.
He's 20 years old.
That's insane.
I mean, we thought Zach LaVine was young when he went into the dunk contest, but I mean,
20.
He was 21. He's 20. He was 21. He's 20. And let me just say this about the Utah Jazz: they're making the playoffs.
Oh my god! And he could win Rookie of the Year.
He's going to. Ben Simmons, I'm sorry, move over. Unless you're going to average a triple double, Donovan Mitchell's got you beat.
Right. If the Jazz keep playing how they're playing, and
especially if you discount his first couple months of the season when they weren't giving him minutes and his stats are skewed. He's averaging over 20 points a game
as a rookie.
And
leading his team.
Yes.
In the West.
Yes. When was the last time a rookie averaged over 20 points a game? I need to know. I don't know. I need to go back and figure that out because the only one I can think of right now.
Maybe like Tyreek Evans. I don't know how much he averaged. I think it was Tyreek Evans.
I bet to say Tyreek's the one that's coming to mind. I think he was the last one to do it. And he was like at 20.1 points per game. I think he was the last one to do it. But that's all. It was a while ago. I mean, that was what, 8 years ago was
something like it was a while back.
I'm trying to remember who was in his draft. It wasn't DeMarcus Cousins.
It was a weak class. I remember that.
No, DeMarcus Cousins was in the Curry draft, wasn't he? Him and Curry came in at the same time, 2008, right? I'm pretty sure. I can't remember, man. It's been a while since I've looked at the NBA draft classes.
I don't remember.
Tyreek
might be 2009, 2010.
Right. The one that came to mind was first LeBron, and I'm like, obviously someone's done it after 2003. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, is it Tyreek Evans? Because I couldn't remember if it happened sooner than that. And I think you're right. I think it was 2010. I think you're right.
I think.
Either way,
sure.
I'm pretty sure it was 2010 because he was in the same draft class as DeMar DeRozan. Okay. And that was 2009. Okay. Well, 2009 draft, 2010 season. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. But no, I think you're right. But yeah, Donovan Mitchell, Rookie of the Year. You can lock that in.
Yeah, I hope so. I want to see that.
He's earned it. He's earned it. After watching what he did in the Rising Stars game and what he did in the dunk contest and what he's done the past 2.5 weeks, it's over. It's a done deal. And also, I know we touched on it earlier, but the Jazz's addition of Jay Crowder, that's going to be huge.
They're
already a great defensive team, and when Jay Crowder's locked in defensively, one of the better perimeter defenders in the entire league. But getting on to the last question. Speaking of All-Star Weekend and crazy jerseys and all that stuff, Rick, to end the show, what is your favorite NBA jersey currently, and what is your favorite NBA historic jersey?
Oh, currently, I really enjoy. Oh shoot, there's a lot. That's a tough one. Hey, can you go first?
Yeah, I can because I can tell you right now is that my favorite historic jersey is what Donovan Mitchell donned in the dunk contest in those what a lot of people can't stand, those purple dinosaur jerseys of the Toronto Raptors.
One of the better
when they first became a franchise in 1995. The white ones, I can agree that they are pretty ugly. I'm not a fan of those, but the purple ones, there's something about the purple and red going with the gray barbed wire or whatever is going on down the jerseys. That's what NBA jerseys were really good. I thought was like in the 90s when they really thought out of the box, you know. Also the Vancouver Grizzlies jerseys,
right.
Those were really unique. Those are up on my list, but if I had to pick a favorite historic jersey, it's got to be the 95 Toronto Raptors inaugural season jerseys.
Okay. I do like those Toronto Raptors, those camo ones.
Yes, I do. I do like those because the Spurs usually wear the camo ones, but I like the green.
Yeah.
There's something about the green that looks nice. It's easy on the eye.
Historic for me, it has to be the Denver Nuggets one for sure.
Oh my goodness, the rainbow jerseys.
Those are really nice. I think
those are the 80s or 70s or 80s ones because I know when they changed their colors from yellow, they changed it to like an orangey red color when Mutombo was there, like late 80s, early 90s. I know they changed it then, but I think before then, that's when they had the blue with the city behind it, and that beautiful. Yeah, those are gorgeous.
And I think it's the statement ones that they have right now. There's like these blue shorts with like yellowish.
Yes,
those are nice too.
And the jerseys with the they got the pickaxes on them.
Those are nice.
And the numbers that's nice. Like right below it. Yeah, I really like those.
Yeah, those are clean. Yeah, the Nuggets have a lot of nice jerseys.
Nike did a really good job with a lot of the teams this year in designing their jerseys. I mean, obviously there's some that are like, you know, you sit there scratch your head, why the hell did they do that? But there's definitely more good ones than bad ones that they designed this year that are just really clean. You know, they've done a really good job.
Really clean. And I think current, like, I like the Celtics one, of course. I'm a Celtics fan and whatnot, but I like the Rockets ones. Like, I just like that red.
Oh, they're red.
They're standard red ones.
They're the Icon. I can't remember. I think the Icon jerseys, or is that the white ones? I don't know the names that they.
Yeah, like they have a.
In the old format, that they're away jerseys.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the red ones. Those are really nice.
I just like the red. I like the the logo. It's nice.
See, that's where I really like the Rockets is that their logo is simplistic, but it captures everything that
effective.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
You know? It's
and their old ones are nice too. The
ones
Hakeem used to wear.
Yes, those were something. They only had those for a few seasons too.
Yeah,
those were a little crazy. But the I like the pinstripes. Like same thing with the Magic.
Yeah.
The old Magic uniforms where they were like kind of brighter color, like a brighter blue. I really like the pinstripes. But if I had to pick a current day jersey that are my favorites, I would have to say the new Cavs jerseys or the new Suns jerseys. Like the Nike ones that they just came out with, especially the Suns. I'm not sure if it's the statement jersey. It might be the statement one, the black and orange jerseys that they have, where it's like all black with the orange numbers.
Yeah,
those are very nice.
They are
probably my favorite. And then for Cleveland, I really like their maroon. Their maroon jerseys with the new textiles that they have. Yeah, very, very clean.
Yeah, no, and Cleveland has a lot of nice uniforms from like the past, like those that blue, like that hardwood classic one. And I like the Bucks current ones.
Yes. I thought that when they got rid of the red and incorporated like the tan and the blue,
it's nice.
It was a good move.
They're really nice.
It was a good move.
Very modern.
But yeah, those are our favorite jerseys. Go ahead and let us know what yours are on our social media.
There's so many. And the Bulls. You can't go wrong with the Bulls jersey.
Oh, classic. And they haven't changed. They haven't changed for 30 plus years. You know?
And it's been a nice design.
Yeah, and it's really just big and bold, and that's what they've been about. You know.
Yeah,
short and sweet too. But that's gonna do it for us here at GRCV Hoops. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Thanks a lot for tuning in. Check us out on iTunes and follow our social medias, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Have a good one.